Tree Country 1330 WTRA, good morning. We're welcoming in Decatur County Commissioner Jeremy Pasel. Welcome back.
Good morning.
You came back. You were here a month and you came back to us.
Great to be here.
All right, so there is still so much going on.
There is.
I go by those fairgrounds every morning, and I feel like every day there is something new happening.
Unfortunately, not as much as we'd like with the way the weather's been here lately. You can't really move a whole lot of dirt out there with the amount of rain that we've gotten, but we have a little bit of a dry stretch here, and so hopefully we can make some progress. With the new community building, we are just waiting on the state to issue our foundation permit for the footers and for the pad. We're expecting to get that here in the next week or so, and once we get that, then it's full speed ahead. You'll really start seeing some work done out there to get things ready for that building to go up. The actual building should be here sometime around the fair. There's a very good chance, I'm told, that you will see the actual steel beams and the metal exterior sitting on the pad during the fair. So it'll be neat to actually see what is going to be there actually at the fair.
Starting to come to fruition.
Yes, ma'am.
Finally. So let's talk a little bit about, and we did last time, but again, the funds that will contribute to the Fairgrounds project, and then you guys are also going to be kicking off something at the fair in regards to that.
Yeah, we are. So this is part of the Ready 2.0 project. The total project is $4 million, and $2 million is coming from the state through Ready. The other $2 million is made up of $1.2 million from committed county funds, and then we're doing a fundraising project where we're going to be raising the rest of the revenue. And so it's split for where those funds are coming from, and they're going to different parts of the Fairgrounds project. So we're doing the new community building, we're doing upgrades to the farm and home bathrooms with HVAC, so heating and cooled, new toilets, urinals, dividers for the stalls, new walls, new flooring. It's going to be a completely new facility in there. We've already done the tiling work down at the horse arena, so there's 5 runs of tiles inside the arena, and then we also have several runs of tiles outside the arena because that area is notorious for holding water.
Yes, it does.
And so we'll be able to hopefully have a better schedule for all of those 4-H participants to be able to go out and show their animals where we aren't worried about just a big puddle sitting in the middle of that arena. We also tiled the hill over at the track. We found several springs over there that were constantly flowing, and so we tiled the hill, and then we also tiled the track so that we don't have the same water concerns as we did before. So hopefully our track events can go better and be more on schedule.
Because the prediction usually, if you had one good rainstorm, that kind of took out those events.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you were waiting a really long time to get the dirt worked on the track to let the water drain as best as it could from the horse arena. So hopefully with the new tile runs that we have out there, we won't have all of those same concerns.
All right. The fair is coming up quickly.
Yes. Yep.
So quickly.
Yeah, just a month away.
So just talking to Kevin Kreitz about the pre-sale tickets being on sale. You guys have got everything is lined up. It's ready to go. Now it's execution time, right?
It is. We are at that point where we're making sure that we have our all of our I's dotted and our T's crossed because we're in crunch time now. We're right around the corner from the fair kicking off, and I think things are really coming together. When you look at our track events, Thursday night, so the first night of the fair, July 10th, is going to be Warner Brothers ATV drags. Friday, July 11th, is going to be the All-Star TQ Midgets. Saturday, July 12th, is the Demo Derby. Sunday, July 13th, is the Southern Indiana Truck Drags. Monday, July 14th, is going to be the NTPA Tractor Pull. And Tuesday, July 15th, is going to be King's Rodeo. So it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of good events down there.
There are several good events this year. I know there's been some concern raised, and talk about how you guys are going to work to prevent, with the construction going on, whether it be vandalism, people getting hurt, those kind of things. What's kind of in place to protect that? So
with the other aspects of the project, I'll start with the other ones other than the building. The work down at the horse arena is going to be completed. So obviously with doing tile work, they had to go in and ditch. So they have gone in and covered the tile lines, and we're having more sand brought in for the horse arena. We'll see how much is brought in this week, and if we need to bring in additional sand so that we can create the proper shape for the arena. So that work's going to be done. The work at the track for this fair is also going to be done, so there's no concerns there. The farm and home bathroom remodel is also going to be complete by the time of the fair, so we don't have any concerns on that aspect of the project. For the community building, there's a good chance, like I said, that the structure is going to be on the pad, but we're going to have it fenced in. So you will see it, but you won't be able to access the actual pad or the building materials. That way we can keep everyone safe, keep the building materials safe, so that as soon as the fair is over, we can start seeing that building go up.
Is there a targeted date for the completion of that building?
Yeah, that was one of the notes that I had. So best guess right now, of course, weather permitting, we are looking at the end of November this year, beginning of December.
Not far.
Not
it's
far
not really
off.
far off at all.
No, it's not.
So describe this new building for people that haven't heard yet.
So it's going to be fantastic. There's 600 to 650 people that will be able to sit at tables for different events. You're going to be able to host any kind of training event, promotional event for any type of charity organization in this building. The concrete floor is thick enough that you could drive a tractor or a grain truck in there and not have any concerns about the floor faltering. You have a very large overhead door that you'd be able to drive these types of machines into the building. That door will be off of Park Road. High ceilings. We'll have a mezzanine for storage. The community building is also going to have the extension office on the west end of the building. And plenty of bathrooms to have that kind of occupancy inside the building. So it's truly a multi-use building. Of course, heated and cooled. Our whole goal here is to make the fairgrounds usable year-round. We don't want it to just be a summer thing. We don't want it to just be during the fair or Power of the Past. We want it to truly be an event space where you can host anything year-round. And I think that we're really moving in that right direction with the upgrades to the farm and home bathrooms, and now with the upgrades for a new community building. I think we're really heading in the right direction. And so I've met with some businesses talking about this project, and I went to go and look to see how many different events the fairgrounds hosts in any given year. And last year it was 35, 36 different events, which shocked me. I had no idea. From your random yard sales to the fair, Power of the Past, to Owens auctions. I mean, there are things going on out there year round, and I think this will only help promote Decatur County, help promote our fairgrounds. And by doing that, the fair can be self-perpetuating. Its finances can be self-perpetuating, so that we aren't having to use additional tax dollars to do these kinds of upgrades, where that way we can go and look at doing other upgrades to the fairgrounds based on the money that it's generating from its own revenue.
It's reinvesting back into the fairgrounds.
Absolutely.
What this is doing.
Yep.
You guys will be kind of having a graphic or a design out for people to see during the fair?
Yeah, so I have put out some of the information. We have not put out yet the full design of the building. We will have that at the fair. So like I told you, the rest of the funds, besides the county funds and the state funds, will be through a donation campaign, a fundraising campaign. And so we'll be having our initial kickoff event there. We'll have a booth right there by construction so that you guys can come by. You can see on the diagrams, on the displays, what the building's going to look like, both on the exterior and on the interior of the building. You can pick up information about what exactly the project is and how it's going to be funded. All of the donations during the fundraising campaign will be ran through the community foundation, so the funds aren't going straight to Decatur County government. They aren't going to the auditor's office. There is a QR code. There's a website through the community foundation where you can go and you can make those donations through the foundation. Donations don't have to just be a one-time thing. You can set up some kind of program where you are contributing for the next 5 to, I think it's 7 years is the maximum. And so that gives you a lot of flexibility if it's a project that you really believe in, because when you look at the history of our county, the fairgrounds and the fair has always been a great thing here. I know I was a 10-year 4-H'er, and when you're looking at what it provides to our youth, it's a fantastic thing. So if that's something that was near and dear to your heart, I'd ask you to support those kids that are in it now and the kids that are going to be coming up through it here, in the future generations.
And that information will be available at the fair?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so fair's coming. July 10th is the first day.
July 10th.
All right.
Yep.
Well, it's going now for the rest of us.
It certainly is.
We will open to the public July 10th.
Yep.
All right, so let's move up the road just a little bit to the Ball Diamonds.
Absolutely.
What kind of updates got going on there?
We are 8 weeks in. 8 tournaments, 8 weeks in, and it's been a success to the point that I honestly could not have predicted the amount of success that they've had over there. In the 8 weeks that they've been operational, they've generated over $100,000 in revenue at concessions, and they're averaging about $3,000 a week from from the ball diamond rental itself. So I mean, they're seeing some fantastic revenue generation. Last weekend would have been our largest tournament to date if it hadn't rained. It was supposed to be a 72-team tournament.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, because of the rain and the fact that we don't have the back 4 diamonds completed yet, they had to cut the size of that because they weren't going to be able to get the tournament in. But still, it was our highest grossing profit weekend ever. It was well over $9,000 on the weekend for concessions. So I mean, they're figuring out the bugs. There are still some issues there, but I mean, they are doing a fantastic job with the promotion of the tournaments, and also they're working with, and they're figuring out, this is where the bugs are, they're figuring out the kinks of making sure that our local teams, which have the priority for us, we want to make sure that our local teams are getting out there. We're figuring out the bugs that we need to look at so that we can have our local kids go out and enjoy and use these fantastic facilities. And so we're working on it. It's a work in progress, but so far I think we're really on the right track.
And it's the first year, so with first comes bugs and figuring out how things work.
Yeah, we're 2 months in, and I think once August comes in, that'll be when we see the back 4 diamonds done, somewhere in that ballpark, no pun intended. And once we have all 8 diamonds turfed, that's really going to open up flexibility for all of the different uses out there, from local teams to the tournaments, because then you have more facilities that have the same quality drainage and the same quality turf, because that was one of the upgrades that I don't know if a lot of people realized when they went in and they put in the turf. They also did a lot of drainage work, and so that's the reason that even last weekend when we were having all of that rain, they were still able to continue to play on the turf, is because of the drainage. And so it's going to be a great thing going forward when we have all of those 8 diamonds done.
All right, and so towards August at some point we'll see the back 4 done, and then so for next season we'll start fully turfed.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good. You and I have lots of discussions about roads. We live kind of in the same proximity.
We do,
and, this question came up after we went off the air last time, but you're getting ready to start some road projects, but then there's some roads that you can't do anything about. Yeah. So tell us all about those.
Well, so we are starting, it sounds like it'll be in the next week or two, of course, weather dependent. The Community Crossing Grant 2025-1, that's a state program where 75% of the funds for the project are from state revenue sources. 25% comes from Decatur County, from our highway department's budget. And so that project is going to be 116 miles of chip and seal starting sometime in the next couple of weeks. I actually did post a map on my Facebook page if you want to share it.
Okay, yeah.
On the WTRE Facebook. That'd be great, because it shows the highlighted roads in Decatur County that are going to be chip and sealed. And it also, in there, our highway superintendent had written the approximate date for when those areas will be hit with chip and seal.
Oh, very nice.
And we're also, I've talked with the highway department and with our IT. We're going to be updating those road closure areas as they're happening on our county Facebook page, so that you can actually plan ahead and make sure that you aren't caught off guard by those additional road closures from the chip and seal being done. So 116 miles of chip and seal, that was just under $2 million.
Isn't it crazy, the expense?
Yeah. It's extremely high. SC Construction is doing this chip and seal for 2025. There were 4 separate companies that came in and bid that, and we had those discussions to select SC Construction. They were the cheapest bidder, and so they were selected back, I think, at the end of April or beginning of May.
All right. Now, the intersection we're talking about is up at St. Paul. It's on the Decatur County side. Yep. And I know that I'm not the only one that's brought this to your attention either, and you've experienced it. But that falls under state. Yeah,
so that interchange at Love's in 421, where all of the potholes are at, size that could almost take in a Honda Civic, that is actually state highway right there. Not state highway, but it's a state roadway. Back when the state relinquished or abandoned 421 as a state highway, I think it was in the 1970s, they kept that interchange location and that roadway basically to Loves. And so where you come off of the interchange off of 74 and you turn towards Loves, or you turn to go towards Waldron, that's actually state roadway. And so Decatur County has been maintaining that because the roads are so bad, the potholes are so bad. But our highway superintendent has been in contact with NDOT and their representatives because it's clearly a very poor area. It needs to be milled down, it needs to be repaved. The patching that has been done in those areas is clearly not the answer, just because of the high volume of traffic there and the heavy semis that come through that area. It just takes a lot of abuse. And so we have continued to fill it with Decatur County patch, but it is actually the state's responsibility.
The crater just gets larger every time it rains.
Every rain, every winter, it gets bigger and bigger. And we go out and we patch it. And this is something that we brought to the state's attention numerous times, but we can't make the state do it, is the problem.
And unfortunately, I mean, the patching works for a short time, but obviously it is not a long-term fix.
It's not. Not when you have the amount of heavy equipment that's consistently driving over it every single day of the week.
But we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Tentatively, It is a scheduled project, though.
So the state is supposed to be redoing a lot of the interchanges, the off ramps on 74 in the next year. This one is not scheduled to be done this year. Our highway superintendent has actually asked that they bump that up to include it in this project, so that hopefully we can see those fixes this summer. Don't know if that's going to get done or not. He was having those conversations with NDOT yesterday.
Well, we just give a word of advice. Watch the crater if you're going to St. Paul.
Fingers crossed, because it is very bad.
You're going to lose a wheel in there.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
What else is going on here in Decatur County?
I mean, the Fairgrounds project is by far the thing that I'm most excited about. But business keeps ticking. There's lots of other things that have been going on. So yesterday, our EMA board did interviews for the EMA director position. I would expect that the EMA board would make a recommendation to the commissioners for our next commissioners meeting next week. And we will make a selection more than likely at that commissioners meeting of who will be the next director for Decatur County EMA. They had, I think it was 5 different candidates, and they said they were fantastic. And so there were some that they were very, very happy to interview. Tough decision, and just from what I've heard so far, I haven't talked to every single member of that EMA board, but what I've heard so far is that they just were very impressed with the quality of the candidates that they had.
The EMA position is extremely important because it kind of hovers over the safety of our community.
Yeah, and it's more than that. So, I mean, when you look at the text alerts that you get when there's a severe storm coming in, those are directed through EMA. When you look at flood response, a lot of that is coordinated through EMA. Our EMA director is in contact during weather events with the National Weather Service out of Indianapolis, so we're getting a lot of that information direct from the experts, and so it's a fantastic position, but a position also, or some of the responsibilities that a lot of people don't know. When we have a big storm event, and we have to have the highway department respond to downed trees or washed out roads, if we can go through and actually figure out how much those repairs cost, then our EMA director can then submit a claim request to FEMA, and we can actually get money back for those repair costs. And so that was something that we just completed here a couple weeks ago for an event that happened earlier this year. It's a portion of their job that's very time intensive, and it takes a lot of calculations to figure out some of those different costs. But because most of the employees are already salary employees, and we've already got most of the equipment to do it, but you have to go out and figure out how much those different costs were attributed directly to that event, and then they can go ahead and make that submittal. And this last one was well over $100,000 that we were able to bring back to Decatur County for the expenses just incurred from a storm.
In that position, I'm just going to say you're always on call, because you never know
Yes.
when something's going to happen, or what it may be. So
yeah, I mean, it's anything from tornado to biohazard response. There's a biohazard training coming up here to just coordinate between hospital, EMS, fire, law enforcement, because you never know, and they need to be trained for it. They also have coordinated rapid response for incidents at schools and other mass gatherings where things could happen, so that everybody's prepared. You have the training so that hopefully, we pray nothing like that ever happens, but you have the training to be able to handle it and function correctly to be efficient with how you respond.
All right, so that hopefully the next commissioners meeting we'll have more of an update.
Yep, and our interim director right now, Gary Hash, he has been working his tail off in this intermediary period here. So I would give Gary all the praise in the world, because the number of hours that he's putting in, not only filling the job that he had before working in EMA, but also taking on the role of being the director, the interim director. He's really been putting in some fantastic work. So Gary's doing a great job.
Talking to the commissioner meeting, when's the next one?
Next Monday morning, 8 o'clock at the courthouse.
Okay. One thing that I love that you guys have done, you've added some evening meetings in.
We have.
So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was one of the things when I was coming in as a commissioner, when I was out talking to folks before I'd actually been elected, one of the biggest issues that I had heard was that the meetings, every single meeting being at 8 o'clock in the morning, was not conducive to a lot of folks being able to come to those meetings to be involved. And if you don't have folks involved, they don't know exactly what's going on, and that's not great for anybody, whether you're the elected official or you're the citizen out there wanting to know issues, or you have a problem on your roadway. And so I wanted to see the meetings move to, at least one of the meetings moved to 6 a.m., or 6 p.m., sorry. This way we have a meeting at 8 a.m. and we have a meeting at 6 p.m. so that we can get more people the opportunity to come to a commissioner's meeting, voice their opinion, hear what's going on, and just be involved. I think it's been a great thing. We have seen a lot of good response and good attendance at those meetings. The other big change that we've made is all of the meetings are being recorded. They're posted on YouTube. They're posted to the county Facebook page. So even if you can't make a meeting or you can't watch it live, you can go back and you can watch those meetings because they're archived on our county YouTube page.
Now, for someone who's out there and thinks, I have this complaint or question, but I don't know who it goes to, what are some of those things that they can bring to the commissioner? So just, I know that's a very broad question because you guys cover a lot of territory.
Well, so it really could be about anything, because if you call me, whether it's from roads or a staffing issue, whatever, I field all of the calls. And then if it's not me or one of the other commissioners or the council, then more than likely at this point I can direct you and get you a phone number for where you need to go. So if you have a question, feel free to call me. I get those kinds of calls every single day. It could be truly about anything. The commissioners are the legislative body for the county, so we handle the ordinances, we handle all of the contracts. The council is in charge of the finances and the budget. So when it comes to like roadways in Greensburg, that's not the county. So if you're looking at Lincoln or Main Street or anything like that, you're actually looking at a different form of government. That would be the city of Greensburg. So the county handles all of the roads and the maintenance therefore outside of Greensburg city limits.
Now there is also a lot of question over who has jurisdiction over what. So Decatur County Parks and Rec, that belongs to the county.
Well, it's a joint venture. It's a joint venture between the county and the city. And the reason for that is because the Parks Department is funded by a levy on your property taxes. So a portion, a very small percentage of your property taxes that you pay. So anybody that lives in Decatur County, whether you live in Greensburg or you live out in the country, you're paying Decatur County property taxes. And so a portion of your property tax goes to Parks and Rec. And so because of that, the Parks Department board is formed by appointments from Decatur County government and then also Greensburg city government. And so it is a joint effort. There was a resolution that was passed back in the 60s that was the forming document for that board.
I think animal shelter is kind of funded as well that way.
Animal shelter is the Decatur County Animal Shelter, but due to the other issues that Greensburg has, I mean, with dogs running strays, that kind of thing, cats, with doing the trap neuter release program, Greensburg City pays a portion of the fees and the charges that they need for the animal shelter.
Gets very complex, doesn't it?
Does. Yes.
It does.
Yeah.
Any update as far as the changes to property taxes that we've seen from the state, what that fallout's going to look like at the county level?
No, I got an email from the representative with Baker Tilly last week. They are pulling together the final numbers for all of our different lines in the Decatur County budget so that we can have a real a clearer view than what we do right now on how SB1 is going to affect our finances going forward. I would expect this year we shouldn't really have any major issues. There will have to be some cuts, some tightening of the belts. Everybody expects that. But I think for 2026 budget, it should be fine.
All right. Anything else on your list today?
No, I think we really hit the big ones, the ones that have been keeping me the busiest here lately.
All right. Once again, the Decatur County Fair will be kicking off July 10th. Tell us about that board. It's kind of been through some transitions the past few years. This is the first year for this board.
Yeah, so over the last, I think it was 3 or 4 years, the commissioners had been the ones that were actually putting on the fair. They did have a committee. I know I was involved with those from when I took office in 23. This is the first year that we've had a new fair committee that is not directed by the commissioners. So I had written new bylaws for the fair committee last, I think it was August or September, and those passed through the commissioners, and so we now have a new fair committee that's in place. So our president is Kevin Kreis, who you talked to before. Our vice president is Scott Smith. Our treasurer is Mary Lou Davis. Our secretary is Barb Wechter. We have Danny Peters on there as the council representative. I am the commissioner's representative on the fair committee. Chris Ramey is heading the parade and doing a fantastic job there. Mark Hurt is on the fair committee. We have representatives from 4-H and the Extension Office as well. I very likely could be forgetting somebody, so I apologize.
It's a big group, but it takes everybody to make it happen.
It does. I mean, everybody has their own different responsibilities, and we all stay very busy with making sure that we get everything done.
I know.
I forgot. Maybe one of the most important guys, Scott Best.
Yes.
He'd probably be calling me, being like, Jeremy, I run the entire track. What are you doing?
That's right. You left me out. I feel like Scott knows the answer to everything. Whatever it comes out,
just ask him.
Ask him, yes. The parade route has been released. I know it's been on the Facebook. Can you kind of give us an idea of where the parade, because it's taken a little different twist and turn this year?
We're going back through the fairgrounds this year, so we're going to go down Park Road. We're going to turn at the animal shelter into the fairgrounds, and then there are 2 lanes in between the animal shelter and the horse barn. We will be taking that first lane up towards the livestock pavilion so that we are not going by the horse barn, and so we'll just make sure that the parking area there is clear so that we can get vehicles turned there. So once you get up to the livestock pavilion, you'll be turning back south towards the track, and then you will turn right at the bottom of that hill and head up through the fairgrounds past the headquarters building and the commercial building, and then out. It will be going by the construction location, so we'll just have to make sure that we keep our exhibitors, our other vendors back, because it's going to be very tight this year. Due to the size of the construction project out there, we are losing a lot of space for vendors where they're typically located at, and so we're really trying to squish people in and maximize the amount of space that we have.
And it's just 1 year.
1 year, yep. Growing pains for 1 year, and then next year I think it ought to be pretty fantastic.
All right, you guys have done a great job getting ready. I know it's a lot of work, but we will see it come to light soon.
Yes, ma'am. It'll be great.
All right. Well, we look forward to having you back again next month, and more updates as we continue through the summer of Decatur County.
Yeah, it'll be during right before the fair next year. So maybe we just bump it and do an event at the fair.
I like it.
Yep,
I like it a lot.
That'll be great. I appreciate you having me.
All right, guys. It's 10:26 on Tree Country 1330.